All right. So can you see me, hear me clearly? Yeah? Awesome. So we'll begin today's session. Sit comfortably wherever you are, keeping your back and neck straight. And when you feel ready, very gently close the eyes and just start connecting with your breath. Watching the natural flow of the breathing as you inhale and as you exhale. Very gently and slowly turn your attention back to your breath, to your body. Become aware of the posture. See if you need to adjust your body so that it is more comfortable and more stable. Now gently come back to your breathing and begin to deepen the breath, going for slow, long, and deep inhalations. Slow, long, and deep exhalations. Deepen your breath and relax your mind. We will be chanting Om 3 times, followed by the Guru Mantra. Take a deep inhalation for Om. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Take a deep breath in for Om. Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Feel the vibrations. Join your palms together and begin to rub your palms together. Keep the palms on the eyes. Very slowly, while blinking and looking at the palms, begin to open up your eyes, coming back to this mindful Shanti. Let us begin our session for today. So, in yesterday's session, we have talked about yoga, the meaning of yoga, and we were continuing with the second definition. And I had briefly explained the second definition as well, where I made you write down Samatvam Yoga Uchate, right? And the meaning for this was equanimity or balance is yoga, right? So just give me one moment. I'll just be back. Just one moment. All right. Yes. So yesterday we were talking about Samatvam Yoga Uchate, and today I'll just elaborate on this more. So balance or equanimity is yoga, right? And there are different. Yesterday also I was talking about duality. So your entire life, if you very closely look at it, it is filled with dualities, right? Everything has another thing which will set it off, right? If there is happiness, there is sadness as well. Then I told you the example of the changing seasons also. If there is summer, then there is winter, right? So everything has another aspect to it. And if you keep generating reactions based on this, you can say these changes, then again you need to look very closely, because at the end of the day, the quality will also change, and the quality doesn't matter. What matters is the reaction that you are generating, right? Be it the good, towards the good quality, you are generating some reaction, or towards the negative quality that you are generating some reaction. But the common thing that you are doing in both these circumstances is generating the reaction, right? And when we practice yoga, we want to be free from this, free from the creation of reaction. We don't want that things always tilt in our favor, because that is not possible, right? It is impossible that there is only summer throughout the year, right? So, in this same way, right, the yogi aims to come out of the reactive state of the mind, right? So, when the mind is neutral, not only just your outward reaction, right? So, sometimes what we do, something doesn't turn out in our favor, and what we do, we just close keep our mouth closed, but the mind is constantly reacting, right? You're generating anger constantly in the mind, or you're generating that irritation or frustration. So what the yogi actually does is, through the processes of yoga, reach this stage where the reaction in the mind, it ceases to exist, right? And that is actually what the first definition that we discussed was, right? The fluctuation cease to exist. So how do you make sure that the fluctuations are, you know, getting eliminated? When you come to a stage where you attain balance, right? Because as soon as you attain balance, the reactivity will go away, right? And it will automatically lead you to the final stage, which is yoga, right? The union, right? So you come to this stage. So there are a lot of stories to understand this thing. Now I have explained this thing to you, and intellectually you understand it. But in our lives, most of the times, even when we understand something, we are unable to, implement that thing, right? So there are multiple stories around this definition also. So one story, very famous story. So, in ancient times, the, teachers, like students and teachers used to live together. So right now, yoga is being passed down in a very different manner. And especially with COVID coming in, now we are connected to you guys over Zoom call, right? But earlier, the person used to come live with the teacher, and not only for 1 month, 2 months, right? They used to live for years with the teacher, right? And the teachers mostly, they used to give the students some tasks to do so that they could understand what was being taught. Yeah. So now the story goes on in this way, that in a particular uh, school like this, where the students were living with the teacher, right? So the teacher, they have their own tricks and tactics to make the students understand. So what generally used to happen was, all the experiments were done on the favorite student, right? Because the favorite student wouldn't mind that much, right? Or the favorite student knew, right? Knows that, okay, I like, there is no harm that the teacher is meaning, right? If you point out the at the naughty student in the class, the naughty student will probably get more irritated, right? But if you take the example of the good student or scold the good student, the naughty one will, take a note in their mind, just through that example, right? So in that same way, in this setup as well, the teacher chose that, the person who is going to have the, main, go through the main process, it's going to be his favorite student. So what he did, he called his favorite student and he said that, okay, you come here. He asked everybody to go, and he just called him and he said that, okay, you come here. I have something for you, right? I have a list of work for you. So I have to do this work, right? So favorite student became very happy that, at least the teacher considered him to be worthy enough of doing some of his work, right? So the teacher gave him the entire list for 2 3 days, that each and every hour you have to do a different task. Okay. So throughout the day, your schedule is going to be such that every hour you're going to change what you are doing. And this, you have to do all of these things that are written on the list in this format, right? So now the favorite student, he was happy and he said, fine, I will do all of this over the period of next 2 3 days. So now the teacher asked the favorite one to go, and he called everybody else in, right? All the remaining students in. And he told the remaining students that, okay, you come, all of you come in. Now, I have told him that he has to do certain things in the upcoming 2 3 days. So what you guys have to do is, what your work is, when he does one thing in 1 hour, you go over there and you appreciate him a lot. Okay. And then in the next hour, when he changes his work, when he does something else, all of you have to go together and you have to highly criticize him. Okay. So you have to alternate between these two things. So after criticizing, next hour, whatever he will do, it doesn't matter what he's doing. You have to appreciate him. Then you have to criticize him, right? So jumping into extremes, right? When it comes to how the person has done the work, right? So now next day started, everybody was all set, right? So before the teacher comes in, all the students ideally should be there in the class, right? So what the favorite student did before even the students came in, he arranged the class. He put all the mats in correct order, right? He cleaned the blackboard. He did everything, right? So he arranged the class properly. And before the teacher was going to come, the students came in, and all of them, really appreciated him, right? They said that you have put the mats in such a good order, and the blackboard is clean. You have set the place for the teacher also, and you have cleaned the room, right? Very well. Okay. So everybody, appreciated him, and he was just listening, right? So then next hour, after the class was done, next hour he went in and he had to, clean the utensils, right? So he went there, he started cleaning the utensils, and after all the utensils were done in that hour, again everybody came in and they highly criticized him. They said that you cannot even wash these dishes properly, you cannot even do this thing properly. What will you do in your life, if you are not able to do such a simple task properly? Everybody, together they criticized him very deep, right? Then again the next hour changed, he did some other work, and everybody came in and appreciated him a lot for what he had done. So like this, the entire day went by, and he was quite, confused what was happening, but he was still observing, right? So then the next day came, and the same routine repeated, right? So he was now going into deeper conflict, because one day this thing is happening, okay, I can still understand, but continuously this thing is happening, it becomes a, uh, you know, now you begin to doubt and question, confusion increases. So next day started, next day same thing happened, and then the third day came in, same thing, nothing was changing, everybody was just going into extremes, right? So by the end of the third day he was in deep confusion and deep doubt. Okay, so what he decided that next day early morning, before anybody comes in, he will go and meet the teacher. Okay, and he will ask the teacher, what is going on? I'm unable to understand, right? So next morning started, and he found his teacher, and he went in, and his teacher knew what was going on, right? So because he had set everybody in that way that, he could make them understand this concept, right? So he was just sitting and meditating, and the student stepped in. So the teacher, of course, recognized that he has come, right? And he opened his eyes with a smile, and he said that, okay, tell me what has happened. So the student was by that time very, very, confused. So he said that, I have a question for you, I'm not able to understand what is going on. So the teacher said, okay, go ahead, go on, tell me your question. So the student said that, for the past 2, 3 days, I have been observing, when I do one thing, everybody appreciates, and when I do the other, they criticize me. And then switching is going on constantly. So I'm in very deep confusion now, and I know only you can answer this form, right? So the teacher said, yes, ask. So he said, what do you think? Am I good or am I bad? Right? So he asked the teacher, I am really struggling with this thing. Am I a good person or am I a bad person? Because I'm getting such extreme responses. So the teacher looked at him and he smiled, right? And he said that you are neither good nor bad. You are stupid. Okay? You are stupid because when everybody around you came and told you you are doing good, right? It generated this reaction within you, right? That, oh, I'm so good. Oh, I'm perfect. I can do this thing perfectly, right? And then when everybody around you came and highly criticized you, you also believed that you were bad in those moments. And as this changed, you also started, changing your reactions. You started believing that at one point you were good, then one point you were bad, then again good, then again bad. So you are not good or bad. You are stupid because you are not able to recognize this thing. that your reactions are changing on the basis of what is being told to you. Right? There is no balance or equanimity. There is no sense of observation within you, right? That you are not able to see this thing, right? That you are changing. And what happens with us in our day-to-day lives? Is somebody comes up in the morning and highly appreciates us. Oh, you're looking so good today, right? What do? We generate a reaction even to that, right? And we say, oh, wow, today's day, it's going to be perfect, right? And if somebody, in case in the morning they criticize us, oh, this is not looking good, or you are not looking good, and you cannot change that, right? So what do? You feel bad, you feel your day is, the entire day is going to go bad, right? So what are we doing constantly in our lives? We should really think about this thing. We are constantly changing ourselves according to what everything around us is reinforcing. We are believing the things which everything around us is reinforcing, right? If you travel to some other part of the world, maybe your traditions will be completely opposite to some other traditions. They might do something else, they might believe in something else, right? So you might have a big shock, right? What is going on in this part of the world? Why? Because we are stuck in these things, not recognizing that our work is just to purify, cleanse to such a level where we can come in the observational state, right? Just to see that everything, no matter good or bad, we are creating a reaction. And this is what we want to come. This reactivity of the mind, this reactivity of the speech of the body, right? Can show up on any level, right? So another story that goes on, stories are stories and they are very entertaining and they also help us to understand, right? So once upon a time, there was a father and he had two sons, right? And, parents, pass down whatever they have to their children. So uh, when the father passed away, he left behind, two main, two main things which were supposed to be inherited by the sons, right? So one of them was a ring of diamond, right? And one was a very common silver ring. And both the brothers, when the father passed away, they were called and they were said that this is your, family. This has been passed down from generation to generation. So now you guys are supposed to inherit this. And it's good. You are two, the rings are two. So you can take one each, right? So now one of the sons, he immediately saw that there was a diamond ring and the diamond was quite valuable. It was quite big in size as well. So he looked at his brother, and his brother was anyway neutral. So his brother said that, okay, go ahead, you take this, and I will take the silver one, right? So now both the brothers, they went back to their lives. They were leading their own lives, right? Their own families. So now what happened was, after a few months passed, the, younger one who had taken the silver ring, he, was very closely looking at that ring because he thought that, out of all the possessions that their father had, he, kept these two rings very, very carefully. And he understood why he kept the diamond ring carefully because it was very valuable, but he couldn't understand why he kept this silver ring, so carefully. Like in the, you also keep certain things that you really want to pass down to your kids. So he couldn't understand why this invaluable silver ring was kept by his father. So he was very closely observing the ring, and inside that ring, one thing was engraved, right? So he looked at the ring, and when he saw that inside the ring, it was written, "This will also change." Okay. And he used to wear that ring, of course, because it wasn't that valuable also that he had to, just keep it somewhere safe. So he used to wear that ring. And, as the years passed, because he was wearing it, it was a constant reminder for him, right? So when, the seasons changed, seasons in general and the seasons in his life, there was this constant reminder in his life. This too will change, right? So when it got really cold, he, looked at the ring, he read that line again, and then he waited for the weather to change. And so it did. The summers came in. And when it got too hot again, he read what was written on that ring. And so it did. The weather again changed. Then there was crisis in his life. Again, he looked back on the ring. And then when there was prosperity in his life, again he looked back at the ring, right? And this ring, gave him the main principle for leading his life, right? And on the other hand, the son who had taken the diamond ring, he gained a lot of wealth out of it. But due to some reason or the other, he also lost that wealth. So when he had a lot of wealth, he was very happy. And when he lost all the wealth, he was extremely depressed, right? All the crises came in together. So his brother, he saw, wasn't able to, lead the life in that way. And that was the time the younger son, he understood why his father had kept the silver ring so close, right, with the diamond ring. Not because of the worth of the ring, but because of what was engraved in it, right? This principle in life, if you start cleansing yourself enough that you are able to come in an observational state where you are balanced, the entire quality of your life will change, right? Because any which way, all the seasons are going to come, right? So either you can cry or be too happy when they come and they go, right? Or you can observe and understand it is a part of life. This will come and this might as well go away. And it's okay, right? So coming to the state of balance is very, very necessary if you are, and especially when you are practicing yoga, right? Now let's discuss the last definition, which is again very important for us, right? And on which today you have to work, okay? So last definition, which is again given in Bhagavad Gita only, right? It it goes on. So it says that yoga karmasu kaushalam, okay? So you can write it down, right? YOGA, yoga karmasu, KARAMASU, karmasu kaushalam, KAUSHALAM, kaushalam. Yoga karmasu kaushalam. Sorry, it's yoga karmasu kaushalam, right? And you can write down in little letters B.G, which signifies Bhagavad Gita, and you can write down 2.50. So second chapter, 50th verse. So again, over here we are writing down yoga. Yoga is, right, karmasu, which is your action. And kaushalam, this term means skillfulness or perfection. So the entire meaning comes out to be perfection in action is yoga. Or you can also say skillfulness in action is yoga. Right? So let's understand this thing deeply, because most of the times around us we are told that perfection is not possible. right? So I want to tell you this today. Perfection is totally possible. It is totally accessible, right? You can have perfection in each and every action, right? But the process for it, again, you have to go through a very rigorous process. Yoga is not very easy also, right? So, but it will lead you to a stage where the cleansing happens so much that the perfection begins to come in each and every action that, right? So slowly, day by day, action by action, you start with one, two actions, and then you see your entire life change, right? So now what is the quality of perfection, right? What does perfection mean, right? First thing, when you are looking at a perfect or a skillful action, first quality is full concentration. Okay? Even science is proving this thing that human mind can only be focused on one thing at one. Multitasking, what happens? Your mind switches so quickly that you think that your mind is on 10 things, but it is again and again switching from one thing to the other, which causes you to make so many mistakes, right? When you do 10 things at a time, have you ever seen you make so many mistakes somewhere? You will, cause some harm to yourself, or something will be up or down, right? So it is because your mind, human mind, our brain is not designed in this way. We are supposed to do one thing at a time, right? So when you come to this one thing at a time, right, you see that the concentration in that task, it begins to increase, right? Now I understand today's world, today's society doesn't allow you to do this too often. It is very demanding in its nature, and you have to manage multiple things together in order to, sustain yourself or sustain your everyday routine, right? But you can start with at least one task in your, okay, not maybe all of the tasks, but at least one task. You can do that one thing at that time, right? No other things at that time. And I would highly recommend it should be your food. When you eat your food, just eat your food, right? That is the easiest thing to start, right? When you are just consuming the food, it is, a requirement of the body, and you should not talk or should not keep yourself distracted when you're consuming the food, right? But it is totally up to you. Whichever activity you feel you can incorporate this in, you can go ahead and do. So the task has to be done with full concentration. And second quality also I have covered here, which is your one thing at one time. All right. So perfection requires you to do one thing at one time. Now you will say, I have 100 different things lined up in my day. I cannot possibly do one thing at one time. Right? What happens when you do one thing at one time? I will give you a glimpse into that so that maybe it seems more practical for you to incorporate. When you do 10 things at one time, all of them will have reduced quality, and your productivity and efficiency goes down, right? But once you start doing one thing at one time, it will take some a little while for you, some time period. But after that time, you will start observing, because you are doing one thing at one time, you are able to increase your efficiency and productivity. So the task you thought took 1 hour because you were doing 9 other things with it, it will only take 10 minutes for you to complete. But because you are breaking your concentration again and again on that one thing, you believe that that one thing will require 1 hour, right? But that is not the case. Okay. So once you begin to practice, you begin to observe all the things that you are doing, they are taking somewhere longer, because your mind is also focused on other things at that time. It is trying to at least focus on other things as well, which reduces your efficiency to a great extent, right? If you look at yogis, if you look at even um, contemporary yogis who are currently managing, so many things, right? They are very efficient. No work, remains on their desk, right? They complete each and every task. They also have 24 hours. You and I also have 24 hours. But what is different, right? They've changed the quality of how they do the work, right? and hence they are able to do more work. So I will over here even challenge you. I will say that right now with multitasking, as many tasks as you are able to complete in one day, if you incorporate this in each and every task that you do, you will be able to achieve more than that now, right? Because we are capable of it, but we don't know the correct way of doing the things, right? So now at least start with one action in your day where you are doing it with full concentration, one thing at one time. Third quality is full dedication. Okay. So now you can, again, I told you, you can either cry or you can just do the thing as a sense of responsibility, right? Any which way you have to do the thing, right? Suppose you just have to clean the utensils. So I hate cleaning the utensils, okay? But any which way, sometimes I have to do that. So I can either do it crying or I can, actually just do it, see it as one duty or responsibility that I have to complete, right? So what will happen when I at least shift to a neutral mode or go into dedication, right? Again, my efficiency and productivity will increase. Now I'm not seeing that task as, oh, this is not my level, right? I am at a higher level, right? Or, oh, this is disgusting. I don't want to do this. When I do it with dedication, when you do something in your life with dedication, the output is completely different. Have you ever observed, if you're passionate about something, you do that thing, you know, the output is so different from something that you merely do as a sense of responsibility in your life, right? So when you start initially, this dedication will seem mechanical, but if you practice it for some time, it will become very, very, like, it will imbibe itself, it will become infused in each and every task that you do. When you do something with dedication, again, the output changes completely, right? You would have seen those people, no matter what they do, they give excellent results, right? Why? Because they are showing their dedication, right? So smallest task in the day to the biggest task in the day doesn't matter. What matters is how you show up to do that, all right? So your next quality is dedication. And the last quality in action that you need to get, and which is very difficult, again, I am not saying it's easy, right? It is the suspension of the expectation, right? Suspension of the results, right? So sometimes, how we are very attached to what the outcome is going to be. And, suppose I will take this example. Suppose you applied for a job that really means a lot to you, right? And the interview result is going to come, suppose, say, after 2 days, right? Now you have given your interview, you have given your best, but for those next 2 days, right, because you are so attached to it, right, the sense of attachment is not going away. Your 2 days will, go in that mind chatter. What will be the outcome? What will be the outcome? So 2 days of your life gone away. Why? Because you are constantly stressed. You're constantly thinking about it. You're constantly tensed. So when you're attached to something, it leads to a more stressful outcome for you, right? So whatever the result is going to be, it's anyway going to be that only. You cannot go and change your interview, or you cannot go and rewrite, like go back in time and write your exam a little differently. But what happens is, because we are so attached, we give up the relaxation that we can have until the final outcome of that thing comes, right? So not being attached to the outcome, when you just do something out of goodwill for something, right, you are now not attached to what the result is going to be. Are you ever tensed? Are you ever thinking that what will happen? No, you are not. You just did it out of goodwill, and that's it. That's it for you, right? So when you suspend the expectation, right, you come to a state of relaxation. The mind is relaxed, the body is relaxed, again, contributing to your efficiency, contributing to your productivity, allowing you to concentrate on your task, do one thing at a time, right? So when you incorporate all of these qualities, your action becomes perfect. Okay. So now choose one action. Today's task is this only. You have to choose one action where you will try to incorporate as many qualities as possible for you. I'm not saying incorporate all. In the beginning, as many as are possible for you. And then later on, if you feel that in one or two more actions you can incorporate some of the qualities, then again, go ahead and incorporate those in your actions, right? So slowly, when you begin to change each and every action, this will lead you to the the earlier definition that we were discussing, which is balance. When each and every action will have this quality, your state of mind, your entire being, it becomes more balanced. And once you become balanced, you reach to a stage of yoga, which is the cessation of the mental modifications, right? So each and every definition is giving you this simpler way to reach the first definition that we had discussed yesterday, which is the most important one, right? The other two are giving you practical steps, right? How you can achieve that. But the goal is to achieve that state of mind where the fluctuations are completely, eradicated, right? So, any questions, doubts, or queries in today's session? Any difficulties? No. All right. Okay. So we'll be closing a little bit earlier today because therapy class will start a little bit earlier today, right? So let's just close this session. We will chant the Shanti Mantra. So if you know the Shanti Mantra, you can chant with me, or else you can just listen to the mantra. And we will, after the chanting of the mantra, we will just observe our breathing for a few moments just to see what is the state of our breath, and then we will close the session, right? So sit comfortably, keep your back and neck straight, and once you feel ready, very gently close your eyes. Start observing the natural flow of your breath. We will chant Om one time, followed by the Shanti Mantra. Take a deep inhalation for Om. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah. Sarve santu nirat. Sarve bhadrani pashyantu. Ma kaschit dukhabhag bhavet. Ma kaschit dukhabhag bhavet. Take a deep breath in for Om. Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Feel the vibrations of the chanting. Gently shift your focus to the natural flow of your breath. Become aware of how you are breathing. And when you feel your mind wanders, very gently bring it back to the breathing. Observe the pure breath. Without any judgments or expectations. Now slowly suspend your practice. Join your palms together and gently bow down. Just a sense of gratitude. Begin to rub your palms together. Keep them on your eyes. Very slowly, while blinking and looking at your palms, open up your eyes, coming back with a big smile on your face. Om Shanti and Namaste, everyone. Okay, guys. So I will see you for pranayam in the afternoon if you are able to join. And yeah, I cannot hear you. I'm so sorry.
I just said thank you.
All right, great. So I will see you for pranayam or I will see you in tomorrow's philosophy class. So take care, guys, and bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.